Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 220. I am Brendan. Bellator 290 prelims and post-lims. We're going to cover them here. I'm going to try and bust through these real quick because there are a ton of fights. Real quick before we get started, we're going to talk about Neiman, Gracie, Dante, Schiro, Lorenz, Larkin, Mukhamed, Berkhamov, Henry Corrales, Akhmed, Magomedov, and we're going to talk about the rest of the fights here. We're going to break them all down, go over the scores. Real quick, before we get started, subscribe to the channel if you like MMA, you like podcasts about MMA, you like fight breakdowns, Bellator, PFL, 1FC, UFC, do all that stuff here. 2 or 3 videos every single week, breaking down fights, every single UFC fight, almost every Bellator fight, covering it here. Let's go. Okie dokie. So, Neiman, Gracie. Let's adjust this. Neiman, Gracie. Taking on Dante Schiro. So, it wasn't the most exciting fight, to be honest. I mean, it's great for people who love a jiu-jitsu stalemate. But other than that, I mean, beautiful technique by Gracie. He's great at jiu-jitsu. He looked real good. Dante Schiro was able to avoid being submitted. His defense is very good. And we ended up with what we got, which is Gracie worked his way to the back, and he played backpack for 3 minutes of the first round. After countless rear naked choke attempts, Gracie fell off the back. Dante did more physical damage, but the back control and the rear naked choke attempts were so close in that first round, I still gave Gracie that first round 10-9. Second round, Dante was landing on the feet, keeping Gracie on defense and landing a really good jab and a 1-2 combo. Then he got taken down. So Gracie gets right to mount, takes the back, and that's the rest of the round. Obviously, I'm going to give that to Gracie as well. You want more of that? You watch the third round. So if you miss this one and you're debating whether or not you want to spend 15 minutes watching this fight, if you want to see a guy riding the back for 15 minutes, this is it. It wasn't a horrible fight or anything, and obviously it's because Gracie's so good. That's why this happened, right? And it was in the post limb, so it was after the main event. It's a little strange. I can't believe Bellator still does that stuff. I don't know why they do it. You know, the UFC hasn't done that in years. And usually the post limbs were just early prelims that they played after the pay-per-view if the pay-per-view went short. If I'm not misremembering that. I'm pretty sure that's how they used to do it. So that's that. Let's talk about probably the highlight. If you notice the thumbnail, you might notice this is the fight that I think stole the show for the prelims, in my opinion, even though it wasn't very long. Lorenz Larkin versus Mukhamed Berkhamov. I don't know what to tell you. Probably just going to show you. Let's see here. So I can do this. Bang. Yeah, that was. Jeez. I mean, I've been a fan of Lorenz Larkin for a long time now. I really enjoyed him when he was in Strikeforce. I enjoyed when he was in the UFC. I've enjoyed his career thus far in Bellator. I think he's got the same holes he's always had in his game. Staying in the lower weight classes has helped him and succeed and kept him in a more winning than not position. I think he's interesting to watch. He's fun to watch. Exhibit A. So I thought he was fun. It's worth going to watch. Just watch it just for the highlight, man. I really do. I recommend going back just to watch it, like I said, for the highlight. All right. Henry Corrales. Wow, I can't believe I just pronounced it like that. Henry Corrales versus Akhmed Magomedov. All right. Akhmed before this was undefeated. He is no longer. Akhmed, okay, so he's got, his name ends in Adov, right? So, or Madov. And with that, there's some connotations. This guy's good at grappling. He's going to be tough. All that stuff. Okay. Well, before this night, he was 10-0. Obviously, now he's got the loss. Henry Corrales getting the win here. Beautiful fight, in my opinion. I can't believe Henry Corrales has made this much of an improvement, really. We'll talk about the rounds. I just want to pull something up real quick. Yeah. Okay. So as the fight starts, what do you know? We're starting with some low kicks. Like it's become the thing in MMA, in my opinion. Fight starts, usually a low kick. You can oh man, there's got to be a betting line about that, and it's got to be something crazy. Like the return on it is probably like minus 1,000, because if the first strike thrown or landed is a low kick, it's the norm now in MMA. Magomedov went in on a takedown for a while. He didn't get it. The leg kick from the leg kicks from Henry was really doing the Lord's work. His hooks were glancing off as well, but every time he would get into those situations where he was within punching distance, it was like a 50-50, because Magomedov, he would throw hooks back, and he hits hard. So you run into this scenario like, what do I do? Kick from a distance when I'm not getting countered, I can defend the takedowns, or go into a firefight and possibly get knocked out. So for most of the time in this round, he stayed safe on the outside. I had a real hard time giving that round to Magomedov. Even though he had control time, I just couldn't give it to him because he didn't do anything. Anytime he was in the grappling exchanges, he didn't even get him to the ground. He didn't really land that much either. So Corrales landed the better shots. I gave him that first round 10-9. Akhmed kept putting the pressure on. He didn't stop with his offense pretty much throughout the entire fight. He kept moving forward. Yeah, but in this second round, I thought Magomedov was going to start breaking Corrales, because you saw at the beginning of the second round, Henry Corrales didn't have the same pop. He didn't have the same zip on his punches, whatever you want to say. He still had the same amount of output. It just, you could tell there was a little bit of lag time. Then as the round started to get, the round started to end, Corrales was unloading. He was He started landing some crazy damage. He really picked up the offense, and I actually gave him that second round. Okay, I understand if you didn't, because of the majority of the round. I understand that, but I gave it to him. Third round, Corrales was using his jab really well. The leg kick was starting to cause serious problems for Magomedov. He was not able to move. He actually switched stances for a minute. He was moving poorly. And every time he was landing, Henry was landing back with combos, or at least landing one back. When he took one, he gave one back. So I gave him a shutout, 30-27. I get it. If you give him a 28-29, understandable. That's fine. He definitely got the win. Great job, dude. Henry looked fantastic in that fight. I was impressed. I've seen him fight before, and I don't think he's ever looked this good. I know John McCarthy also mentioned that. I really believe that. Steve Mowry versus Ali Isaev. I don't know where to put the emphasis. These two monsters. Big guys. Ali got the takedown, and since Mowry likes to play off his back, he stayed there the entire first round. Didn't get any submissions. I don't think he had a real submission attempt in that first round. Therefore, that 10-9 has to go to Ali. Then in the second round, Mowry fought for the takedown, got it. He fought for a takedown. Then Ali went for a throw, royally fucked up, and ends up on his back. Mowry got the back. He started landing punches, went to an arm triangle, and then back to mount. Dude, for this second round, Herb Dean didn't stop it. I don't disagree. I think he did fine. If he had stopped it in that second round during one of the barrages from Mowry, I don't think people would have been upset. Okay? I don't think people would have been upset about it, but he didn't. And I don't think anybody's upset about that either. I think he did fine as far as the decision-making goes. But this second round, nothing came back from Ali. That's a 10-8 round if I ever saw one. I said that last night about another round. This was a 10-8 round. So I had it 19-18 in favor of Mowry. Then in this last round, there was a clinch. Steve got some knees in, but then immediately Ali got the takedown, and that was his round again because he held him down. So I called it a draw, and that's what we got. It's just weird that happens because you end up with guys. You spend what, 3 months, 2 months studying your opponent, training, getting into like real fight shape. You're going through hardcore camps that are prepping you for your fight. You get in there and you essentially come out with a plump because there's nothing that happens. Like, it doesn't. I don't know if it advances your career unless you're doing that with a guy who's highly touted or highly ranked, and that's not the case here. So it's just kind of a meh. Chris Gonzalez versus Max Rohskopf. Chris landed a decent kick and a hard right hand early on. Max held the right arm. He did this really cool thing. So Max held the right arm and he gator rolled. So they were both standing still. He gator rolls over, spins through, which pulls Chris down. It was super cool. I've never seen that in a fight before. I thought that was interesting. I'm sure it's happened in practice. I'm sure wrestlers do it all. But for whatever reason, I just don't remember a moment in MMA history of someone holding an arm, gator rolling, basically forcing them to either accept that their arm's just going to be rotated and it's going to, their shoulder's going to pop out of socket, or I have to roll with it. It didn't lead to anything. I just thought it was super cool. Chris landed more damaging strikes in this round, but the numbers were pretty close as far as the total strikes. I gave it to Chris Gonzalez, 10-9. Second round, Max got the back early in this round. He got the mount, but he didn't do any damage. Then to get back up, Chris landed a right hand to the forehead, and Max is out. What a beautiful right hand from Gonzalez. Excellent throw. He threw it perfect timing. He landed a shot before that had rocked him slightly. I didn't catch it live, but when they showed on the replay, you could see it. Beautiful, beautiful. Moving on here. I know we're doing these rapid fire. If you're upset that I didn't spend as much time on your favorite fighter, I am sorry, but I have a lot to go through, and I still got to do the UFC ones. All right. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a specific fight, all the timestamps are down below. Grant Neal versus Karl Albrektsson. Neal fails on the takedown attempt. He's swinging really hard. Karl was being patient, waiting to counter and using many low kicks. Neal got the takedown. Karl worked his way right back up before the end of the round, but that first round was all Neal, 10-9. Karl got the better of the striking in the second round, but not landing any really big damage. Neal got the takedown. Karl up, no damage again. Karl kept dropping his hands a lot. I cannot believe Neal didn't land a good shot on him with his hands down as often as they were. But in this second round, it's hard to say. I think Karl did more damage, but it wasn't a lot more. So I called it 19-19, so I had it even going into the last round. And then Albrektsson was doing a great job in this last round, slipping the shots and landing his own counters. Neal tried to steal the end of the round with a takedown. I just don't think that's not enough. Karl did more damage in this last round, so I had a 29-28 for him. And you can see here, Neal got the decision. I don't agree with it. It is what it is. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on these. I don't think there was any egregious decisions here. None of these. Even if I don't agree with them, I don't think any of them were egregious. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. I don't agree with this one. I felt like Karl did enough to get 29-28 because I gave him that second round. If you gave Neal that second round, then there's no way Karl wins that fight. So understand, it's not a big deal. I could see it going that way. Moving on. Alejandra Lara versus Diana Avsaragova. Oh my God. Avsaragova. What? Avsaragova? Why am I not able to say that right? Avsaragova. Anyway, Alejandra Lara. Yes. Both women landing their straight shots to start the fight. Diana was landing the cleaner strikes up top. Lara was landing a few low kicks, but she was just getting countered every time she was throwing low kicks because Diana was picking up on it. I would lean towards Diana for this first round for the cleaner strikes, landing. She actually snapped Lara's head back multiple times, and because of that, I gave her this first round for more damage, 10-9. Second round, Morrow was saying that a kick to the back of the knee is a calf kick. Sometimes, Morrow, you are such a doof. I appreciate him. I appreciate his contributions to MMA and what he means for the community and all that stuff. I appreciate him being an announcer for as long as he has. I understand people's affinity towards him and John McCarthy. I understand that. I get it. But he sometimes he just has to say stuff. He just has to say things even though he doesn't think about them. And he just throws it out there. He's like, oh, landing the calf kick. The kick was to the back of the knee. That's not a calf kick. All right? I know that sounds stupid to be nitpicky on, but that's the kind of stuff that you're dealing with when you're watching this many fights and you hear announcers royally screw up when they say like a right hand when it was a left hand. That's not a royal screw up. Sorry. That's, a little thing. But if that person says right hand when it's a left hand, they say a leg kick when it was a body kick, when they say a shot landed when it didn't. Like, now you're affecting the sport because the people who are watching have an impression of what's going on based off what you're saying. It's not great. Lara's really kick heavy in her striking, and Diana is landing really good counters every time that she threw those leg kicks. Lara landed some really crazy stuff in the second round, but Diana kept it clean, and I thought she did more damage. I had a 20-18. Big John saying that the strikes at the end of the round from Lara are what the judges are going to remember, as if they are worth more points. I can't believe in 2023 we are still having this conversation, or that I have to mention it. Strikes at the end of the round are not worth more than strikes at the beginning of a round. That is not how this is scored. Okay, the fight is not judged on a whole. The round is judged on a whole, but everything in that round is equal, regardless if it happens in the first second or the last second. Okay, you do not get to say none of those. Obviously, those strikes that led up to the last second clearly didn't affect this guy. So when he lands a shot, it's worth more points because those ones didn't do anything to him. That's bullshit. You can't do that. Okay, a strike is a strike, whether it takes place at the 5-minute mark or the 1 second mark. It's just the way it is. It really makes me mad because, again, people who are watching this, people who are new to MMA, people who tuned in to watch Fedor fight and they're catching the prelims on YouTube or whatever. I know, you're having someone maybe even crossing over from casual to being more of a regular fan. You're giving them the impression that by saying that, by like, this is what the judges are going to remember. Now you can point that out and then say that, put some context in it, which he has to understand. Okay, he's not stupid, and he understands the rule set. He's not dumb. He understands what's going on. He has his opinions, and I think he's overly biased, and I've been critical of some of his commentary. But some of this stuff, when you say these things, without giving context, saying, oh, that's what the judges are going to remember, and that's it, you don't apply context to that, that's what you're saying is, because she landed strikes at the end, those are worth more points in the judge's eyes. Now, you could state that out as if you were criticizing that. You can say, oh, that takedown at the end of the round, that's what the judges are going to remember. Now, it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way the mind works. That's fine. Because now you're saying, hey, this is reality, right? Just like when you see a strike land when you're watching it live and person goes down and then you realize, oh, that's not what knocked them down. They were off balance. Guess what? Commentary teams mention all the time, like, oh, the judges don't have the benefit of going back and watching instant replay. They saw this live, so did they think this was a knockdown? Okay? Anyway, I gave that second round to Diana. Big John gave it to Lara. Don't know why. I do know why. I don't agree. Not much landing in this third round as for the first minute, and then both ladies started landing big lefts and rights. Lara was doing a better job this round, lunging in with her left straight, landing more often. Lara with the pressure, and she was more effective in this last round. If you gave her the second round, I could understand her getting 29-28, and it was a split decision, but I I agree with the final decision. I think that Avsaragova really did. She did more damage in the first 2 rounds, and Lara just was fighting, from a deficit, and she just didn't get it done. That is like it was close enough to where if you gave it to her, I understand. But she's also a 9-6 fighter, 9-7 fighter now. Okay, and this is like a Bellator regular, like a Bellator regular. Darrion Caldwell versus Nikita Mikhailov. These guys were exchanging leg kicks. Caldwell seemed to land a flying knee. Nikita was not stunned. Then Caldwell reversed a takedown, took the back, and stayed on top on the ground. And that's where he was for the rest of the round. So that's a 10-9 for Caldwell. Caldwell caught a kick and got the takedown. He took the back, put in a tight rear naked choke, and Nikita regained guard. But he wasn't able to do much with this. Caldwell with more control again. And the commentary team was talking about how he isn't offensive. Dude, shut up. I don't agree. I don't agree. Caldwell was on top of him doing what he needed to do, and he kept control. And yeah, he wasn't landing damage, but he didn't take damage either. Okay. I am not a fan of a guy who lays in praise. That's a little bit of this. I'm not a fan. But when the commentary team starts to really nag on him and talk about how he's losing, no, you can criticize what's going on and say, hey, I don't like this. They should either be stood up, or hey, he needs to stay more active on the ground. This isn't fun to watch. That kind of stuff. I'm not a purist in thinking that, if a guy holds you down, that should be the way MMA works, because it's an entertainment product. People don't want to watch that. So if you can't at least make it semi-entertaining on the ground, you got to learn a new skill set. But in this case, I felt like he did enough. I gave him the first 2 rounds 20-18. Strikes being landed for both guys in this third round. It was back and forth. Not really a lot of note. Nikita was working on a takedown. He didn't get any damage with it, but Nikita had his best round here. He stayed on the feet enough this round to actually land damage, and being the aggressor, he was able to land some offense. But I had it 29-28 Caldwell. That is not how it went. Mikhailov ended up getting it. Big John McCarthy, maybe I'm missing something in the second round. Maybe I missed a strike or something from Nikita, and I thought, I didn't count it enough for him or something like that. That could be, you're more than welcome in the comments below. Let me know what you saw that gave you the impression that Nikita was supposed to win that. I just didn't see it. Okay, Ethan Hughes versus Usuf Karakaya. So again, this is one of those post limbs. This was actually the last one of the post limbs. We'll go through this. Hughes got the takedown, and then they get right back up. This was a lot of takedown, get back up. Usuf got the better of the striking in this first round. Hughes attempted another takedown, but Usuf actually reversed it. Pretty one-sided. I gave it to him that first round, 10-9. Usuf appeared to stagger Hughes momentarily. He drops him. Hughes went in on a takedown. Hughes got rocked again, and now he was unloading on him. So Hughes just got really tired and wobbled. Usuf was on top trying to get the finish, and then Hughes throws up an armbar, which was pretty cool. He didn't get it because the fence was in the way. The round ended with Hughes laying down some ground and pound. It just wasn't enough from him to reverse it since he got rocked earlier. So I actually had it 20-18 to Usuf, no matter what happened this third round, unless there was a finish or a 10-8. Karakaya was getting this last round. Then in the last round, Ethan was staying in one place, kind of waiting. They were both really tired. He was loading up, and he landed a couple of them, but it wasn't enough. Right hand from Usuf. It's just he took Ethan off balance. He's just a better striker, and he had more clean strikes that landed throughout this entire fight, and he stayed on top and did enough to avoid damage coming back at him or being controlled for too long. Ethan actually ended the fight with hyperextending the crap out of Usuf's elbow. It didn't matter. Didn't matter because that's not how this works. You don't get to just go for a submission at the end and that counts super duper because it's right at the end of the round. I've already explained my position on that. All right. All right. Isaiah Hokit versus Peter Ishiguro. Ishiguro. Boop. Hokit got the takedown early. He stayed in on him tight. Hokit with another takedown. He didn't really do any damage through halfway through the round, but Hokit just had so much more control in this first round and a decent amount of damage and attempts on like stuff on the ground. So I gave it to him 10-9. Hokit had a big lift and a slam in the second round. He was dominant on the ground. When it got to the feet, Peter was doing more. It just wasn't long enough. He wasn't on the feet long enough in the second round. Third round, Hokit got another takedown. Herb actually pulled his pants up at one point because his pants were coming down. So that was nice of him. I appreciate that. Hokit, in my opinion, won that one 30-27. If you gave that second round to Peter, that's fine, 29-28. But Hokit definitely won that. So it was good. And then last one, Jaylon Bates. Jaylon Bates versus Jornel Lugo. Lugo with some low kicks. Lugo did more damage, mostly with the low kicks in that first round. I had him up 10-9. Lugo got him to the ground and then stayed on top for the whole time, so I had him up 20-18. Lugo on top again, eventually reversed, and Bates attempts a submission that gives Bates the last round. I gave Bates the last round, and that's it. So I don't agree with that decision, but there wasn't much action. So if you gave it to Bates for whatever you saw, I would like to hear from you. Let me know what you thought. Obviously, he got the decision there. So sure, you let me know what you saw there, and we can discuss that stuff. But that is it for these. So the next video that I'm going to be putting out is going to be the UFC. We're going to cover the main event in the next video, the main card, and then we'll cover the prelims in the last video. So I appreciate y'all for sticking around. Subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. If you like this stuff, like the video, subscribe. You will like most of the things that I do if you like this one. All right. Appreciate y'all. If this is the only video you watch this week, thank you guys so much for spending your time here. Have an amazing week, and I love y'all.